All right, hello everybody. Happy Friday. One more hot day today. We'll be in the lower triple digits, not quite as hot as yesterday, but pretty close. And then as we go into the weekend, a cold front's going to move through during the day on Saturday. So already by Saturday afternoon, we're starting to cool down in a noticeable way. And then we'll continue with cooler than average weather. A lot of areas seeing some highs in the upper 80s for Sunday into Monday to begin next week, and we'll also get a little bit of a boost in rain chances for this weekend. Although, as you'll see as we kind of go through the updated forecast data, and this was a trend that kind of started yesterday, overall our rainfall risk, especially the risk for heavy rain and flooding, decreasing, and just even the overall odds of rain both Saturday and Sunday going down a little bit. All right, so high temperatures today for Friday. The model blend for Austin has 100 in the forecast. I've got us closer to 101 or 102 today. So it's going to be hot all across Central Texas today. Just hot and dry this evening for our high school football games. No issues at all. All right, on the surface map, you can see we've got this cold front, which is starting to nose into the Texas Panhandle. And again, there's going to be a little bit of a battleground over our area on Saturdays. This tries to come through, but this is going to be the front that eases through and helps to cool us down a little bit. So lower triple digits today. Saturday, the model blend has us at 91. And the temperature forecast for Saturday all depends on how quickly the front arrives. Quicker equals cooler, slower equals hotter for Saturday. I think we're still probably going to end up upper 80s for highs on Saturday. Then the front's going to cool us down a little bit for the second part of the day. And then Sunday, I think the front is through most of our areas. So many of us end up with highs in the mid to upper 80s on Sunday. And then Monday, upper 80s, low 90s, then back to more of a typical thing as we get into next week. Rainfall totals from the Weather Prediction Center, these have trended down. And again, I know we still need rain in many regards, but obviously we don't want to have a significant flood risk again. Our risk for flooding has decreased and the rainfall totals have come down. You can see these are quarter of an inch or less, well, quarter to half inch or less for much of our KVU area. The rain chances, even as you look at these totals, are pretty spotty. So there's going to be some areas that don't even get to these totals and don't see much rain at all over the weekend. But for areas that do get rain, I think totals generally will be less than a half inch, maybe up to an inch over some portions of the hill country. We got an updated flood outlook for Sunday and Sunday night. And again, this has decreased. So remember yesterday, back in this zone over the parts of the hill country down towards Del Rio and Eagle Pass and Uvalde, there's a level 2 risk. They've removed that as the flood risk has decreased. So it's a low flood risk, but it's not zero. Level 1 across much of central and south central Texas. And one of the reasons that our flood risk is decreasing is because we're getting less of an influence from that tropical system in the Pacific. Now, as we look at the Atlantic Basin, we do still have this area out here with a high chance of development. We'll talk about that, in a couple of days when our forecast quiets down. But this is actually the one in the Eastern Pacific, Lorena, which is now post-tropical, that has more of a direct impact on us. About 2 days ago, I showed you a forecast cone that brought this across Baja California and then peeled back east into northern Mexico. Now this thing just kind of lingers out here over the Eastern Pacific and actually kind of turns west. And without that turn east, we get less moisture from it, but we don't get zero moisture from it. Still in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, we will have some of that moisture coming our way, and that helps to fuel rain chances some. And even as early as today, we're going to start to get some high cirrus clouds coming in by the afternoon, and those are kind of the far outer fringes of that high level moisture associated with Lorena. All right, so we've got a cold front forecast. You know what that means? We're dusting off the high-res NAM. So today, the forecast is easy. And again, for those who are new to these videos, here's the time up here. The forecast today is easy. NAM's got us at 99 today. Again, just the day before a cold front, little forecaster's trick. I know the humidity is going to be a little higher today. I know we're going to have a little bit more high-level cloud cover on the outskirts of Lorena. But this day before, a cold front tends to overachieve. So again, I'm thinking 101, 102 today. Friday night into Saturday, you can see our front, the imprint of it getting down closer to us. And here is 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, where the front is kind of on the doorstep of our northern hill country. Just to show you real quick, we'll switch into the wind so that you can see where the boundary is. Again, coming into our area. Let's go back to temperatures. So we'll stop here at 11 a.m. And again, frontal timing is going to be key for what exactly it feels like during the Texas home opener, UT hosting San Jose State. Right now, it looks like upper 70s, low 80s at kickoff. And then this NAM model, again, typically handles shallow cold air masses really well. By 1 o'clock, brings us up, 1 or 2 o'clock, brings us up to like 84, 85. Upper 80s, low 90s southeast. Cooler already, upper 60s and 70s across the hill country, which get the front earlier. Yesterday I had 88 in my forecast. I'm still feeling a number around 88 degrees. There could be a little compressional spike in temperature in the early afternoon right ahead of this front, but then the front comes through. So by 5 o'clock, you can see we start to drop temperatures like 2 or 3 hours earlier than we normally would for the afternoon. So by 5 o'clock, I mean, especially over the northern hill country, Mason, Llano, Burnett, even northern Williamson County, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's a cloudier day. We'll have some rain showers around and temperatures will be in the 70s. Austin, upper 70s, low 80s by the end of the afternoon. And then you can see down along the I-10 corridor, we just have this gradient set up where still it could easily be upper 80s, low 90s there. And then finally, as we go Saturday evening, Sunday night, that front, you can see like this is it right down here. The front gets kicked through, and then Sunday area wide is going to be cooler across our area. So I think highs mid upper 80s will be widespread, maybe even a little cooler than that, depending on the rain situation across parts of the hill country. And that takes us over to the reflectivity map. So today is going to be dry. As we go into Saturday, here's Saturday morning. There is some rain activity developing up closer to that frontal boundary. Here is 11. This is not what the radar will look like exactly, but because the frontal timing is sped up some, I have boosted the rain chance some for Saturday. So I'm thinking like a 20 to 30%. And it's possible, especially during the second half of the UT game, that we could have some, I don't see like heavy rain and storms, but some light showers or just some sprinkles around. So not completely out of the question. It gets a little damp during the game. And then our Sunday rain chance, again, you can see we do have some rain that's going to develop, especially to our west, but our Sunday rain chance decreasing and our overall risk for flooding decreasing too. Now, just to show you some of the trickiness in the forecast, so that was the NAM model that we were just analyzing. This is the HRRR, the High-Res Rapid Refresh, which, as you can see, is slower with the front. So it has the 70s up to our north. This would be 4 p.m. Saturday. It has us in the low to mid 90s. I can't rule something like that out. That NAM model, though, tends to handle these pretty well, and it's been relatively consistent. So we'll see. Again, this is the type of forecast that you can mess up. But I'm thinking about 88 or so in Austin Saturday. But if the front's slower, there is a world where we could be in the 90s still in town. Real quick, I'll show you the reflectivity off of this model. We'll go back to the 6C, the extended run. So through the day on Saturday, again, there is going to be some hit or miss showers. Looks like mainly light stuff, and that's primarily for the afternoon. So hopefully most of the UT games should be dry. So we go into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, some rain, and then that's the last frame. So as of now, we've updated the forecast some. I've got like a 20 to 30% on Saturday and like a 30 to 40% on Sunday. So our concern for locally heavy rain is decreasing. Let's go into the extended outlooks here. Back over to the graphics, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, September 10th through September 14th. Now above normal temperatures are favored. And all of a sudden, once we get past this weekend, rain chance is going away for a while. So drier than normal weather is favored for Central Texas, again, September 10th through the 14th. Here's the model data off the European model. Again, it's got the global models typically don't resolve these as well. So it's got the front still up to our north Saturday, which is why it has us at 96. Even this model blend, I think this 91 is still probably a little warm. I'm thinking upper 80s for highs on Saturday. In Austin too, with the front coming in a little earlier. Then mid to upper 80s will be more widespread on Sunday. Upper 80s, low 90s Monday. Then Tuesday to the middle of next week. And this looks like it will continue for a while. We'll get just kind of locked into a pattern that's hotter, mainly dry. Mid 90s, not crazy for September, but these will start to be a little bit warmer than average for this time of the year. So that's what I have for you. Again, overall, our risk for flooding this weekend decreasing, less of an influence for that tropical system in the Pacific and a sped up cold front. But that doesn't mean there won't be any rain around, and it doesn't mean there's a zero risk for flooding. So Saturday will be a battleground day. Eventually we'll cool down. Sunday, mid to upper 80s for much of our area. Saturday looks like mainly light showers. If we're going to see some pockets of heavier rain, I think Sunday is going to be the day that's favored for that. So y'all know the drill. Just kind of stay plugged into the forecast, and we'll keep the updates coming. All right, y'all have a good rest of your Friday and a good weekend. I'll talk to y'all later.